Well, Doc, been reading the reviews.
Have you now?
They all say the same two things.
What's that, Cho?
Well, firstly, they say Mitch Jones is carrying the so-called doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor of what they say? Doctor of poop.
It's a bit harsh, Mitcho.
Secondly, they're saying the show needs more production value. That's what they're all saying. So as usual, in the spirit of carrying you, Andy, I went out and I did something that is going to blow your mind.
What?
8 games, 50 seconds. This is Inside 50.
Sorry, Mitch, I was just getting a little bit carried away there.
It's a familiar tune, that one, isn't it, Andy?
It sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it does. So first games for you, Andy. The Bulldogs and the Wounded Crows that Eddie had. Just a quick fact for the punters out there. Adelaide are at $7. The longest they've ever opened in their history as an AFL club.
It's very good. Where'd you pull that from?
I pulled that from a little place that I like to call Don't Worry About It, Andy.
What are your sources again?
One of my stone cold sources.
Well, the Dogs have been a little bit under par this year compared to their massive form in the pre-season.
Yeah, definitely.
Barry Hall looks like he's about 2 seconds away from cracking it.
Ooh.
Another Brent Staker could be on the cards.
Let's hope not.
The way Adelaide flood back, they won't be doing him any favours either.
Let's talk about Adelaide. How much trouble are Adelaide in, Doc?
Huge trouble.
Okay.
They need to get away from their handball-happy ways, and they need to get some sort of structure up forward. For mine, Mitcho, the cloning has stopped working.
Oh, now Andy has actually instructed me to bar like a sheep here, a la his cloning reference, but I will not do that, and I will leave the barring up to you, sheepdog. The wispy hair, like a little sheepdog with a wispy hair.
All those types are all the same. Douglas, Vince, McKay, Riley, Knights, etc.
Yeah,
they need to be broken up by either absolute jets and speedsters or big men. Expect to see a few changes this week from the Crows, and the big man Tippett. Hopefully he can find some form. Dogs should win this comfortably for mine, 5 to 6 goals.
Yeah, I watched both teams go around last week, Doc. The Dogs just went MIA in the second half against Brisbane. Credit to Brisbane, though. The Crows, on the other hand, well, they kicked themselves out of that game against the Blues. They were on a 2-goal 10 behind run at one stage early in the fourth quarter. But I think we might have seen the worst of the Crows, Andy. They've got a fit Bock, Van Berlo, Stevens, Porp's got to play himself into form, all to come back. And I definitely think we've seen the worst of the Crow Eaters. Dogs $1.08 and Crows are very long.
Yeah, agreed. The informed Swans playing host to the West Coast Eagles. Mitch.
And we love the Swannies here, Andy. We touched on it last week. The Swans have something very special going on this season. Even in the stages when it was tight against the Roo Boys, they just looked like one of those teams that had something special up their sleeve, just that extra gear that great teams have. And it's Roosie's last season, and don't be surprised if he's keen to go out with a bang. In saying that, though, their conquest so far, not that too impressive. They've knocked off the Crows, the Tigers, and the Kangaroos. They can only knock down what's thrown at you, I guess. Beating West Coast in Sydney, that probably won't tell us much.
No.
But they unveiled another young gun, though, didn't they, Doc?
Big Hannah Banana.
Dan
Hannaberry,
Yep.
ranked at number 1 in the 2008 draft camp for his endurance. He's an absolute gun.
I like that very much, Ando. Last week I said, go do some research, Andy. Get yourself into the picture. You took my notes. You went with it. I'm very proud of you. And I think you might maybe be in that seat again next week.
This man is a goose.
Yeah, I am
the
a goose. The Eagles were above average against the Dons last week, but really the Dons were terrible. That was absolute laughter football for a little while there. A shamozzle, an absolute shamozzle. Shamamabing. Nick Natanui, he tore up the Bombers again, and he's had his 2 best games against them, which is funny to me because you'd think Paddy Ryder would be the perfect match for him, and he earned himself a little NAB-rising star nom.
Yeah, look, the man who goes to the same hairdresser as Jeannie Pratt, Nick Nat, was very lucky to get a rising star NAB for mine. Look, I don't doubt he's going to be a star. He could be the best ever,
Definitely.
but can we just ease up on the Nick Nat hype? There's a lot of tables, a lot of desks rising here, Mitch.
Yeah.
No, yours.
I agree with you a little bit there again. I guess 13 touches doesn't really cut it.
No.
Anyway, the Dons, they played Hansen and Embley into some form last week, but they're going to miss Kerr, and I think there'll be 5 or 6 goals off the pace against Sydney Al Doctor.
Yeah, Kirky and the Zen Meisters will be just too good, and they'll gobble them up. Swans at 120, and West Coast Eagles at $5.
$5. Tell me about Melbourne and Brisbane, Andrew.
Tell me about Melbourne and Brisbane, Mitchell.
Right you are. Right you are there, Doc. Let's talk about the Demons first. Don't take too much from destroying Richmond D's fans, but do get a little bit carried away with Mr. Colin Sylvia's back.
Yes, one particular fan who will remain nameless. One of the biggest watchers of Inside 50.
He loves it.
Being given the tip.
Equal with Rocket.
Equal with Rocket.
Yeah.
He's been absolutely flooding the mailbox. Post he's done his back again with all of this. What could only be described as a huge man crush.
A big man crush!
On the big Cole Sylvia. And you know who you are.
You know who you are. Anyway, he was A grade last weekend.
He
had some friends. Maloney, 37 touches, 9 tackles. Thank you very much. Jimmy Mack, Greeny, Jones, Bruce, plenty of the pill. Young Jack Grimes, Mackenzie, Scully, Trengrove. It's a lot to be excited about at the Demons, and they have something to play for with Jimmy Steins, and I think they're backing themselves in, and I think they could take maybe 9 games this season, Doc.
Yeah. What about the undefeated Lions, MJ?
Yeah, undefeated indeed, and as expected, the Gabba is the new hellhole in AFL football.
The Gabbatoir.
The Gabbatoir. You are in very fine form tonight, Doc.
Thank
I'll tell you what, you're very keen to keep your seat next week.
You can't even sack me. I don't get paid for this show. I write half of it.
I can sack you.
How?
I will cut your Milo portions down.
I love my mic.
Anyway, they embarrassed the Dogs up there, and here's a little pun for you, Doc, because I know you love these.
Yep.
Vossi's recycling program is coming up daisies.
Recycling, compost, daisies. Yeah, working well with yourself, Mitch.
Very good. And Melbourne,
Melbourne,
how funny does this sound?
How long did that take to think of?
Yeah, good part of half an hour, I'd say. Melbourne will be a test for the Lions, and this is their first time travelling to Victoria this season. And we know that D's like to play at the G, so even though I expect the Lions to win, I'm tipping the D's to do not too badly against them. About 3 goals, Andy.
Yeah, the Lions are $1.25. D's at $3.90. Could be tempting at the line. Lions at $1.25 wouldn't even touch that.
Okay, let's get this right this time. Yeah, definitely your game. Let's talk Port versus St Kilda at Amy Stadium.
Yeah, look, Saints, they must have some of the best structure going around in AFL football. The way they covered Roo last week was absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
They spread the goals evenly. They have someone who stepped in. BJ, kick 5. Port were absolutely deplorable. I had them finishing pretty low. They had a good start to the season, but now they're starting to prove the Doc's diagnosis correct. The Doc was also proved correct last week when I mentioned that they just have too many front runners.
Don't ever do that again.
Do what?
The third person thing. I don't like it, mate. It doesn't suit you. I know everybody walking around, you're a footy trainee, everyone's going, over here, Doc, what's up, Doc? But, mate, don't get smug. We won't put up with any of that nonsense here.
Well, how many people are recognising you on the street?
You're a terrible, terrible man.
Look, one person I want to speak about is Stephen Milne, the repeat pest.
Shh.
Repeat pest.
No.
See what I did there?
No, don't like it.
Oh.
Anyway, what about Stephen Milne, Doc?
Well, when you look back on it, he will have turned out a pretty good career.
Yeah, agreed.
He will have kicked around 550, 600 goals from over 200 games. It's not a bad return at all. St Kilda's backline, too good for mine. They'll get up.
Backline, midfield, forwards, water boys, they'll be definitely too good for them, Andy.
2 inclusions I want to talk about. One, Cozzy. The next 15 weeks will define how we remember him as a player.
Yeah, he must stand up.
Second one, the stand up without knocking himself out.
Yeah, that's it.